I lost all 10 of my toenails, and it's only
What?
and also yeah, I lost all 10 toenails. Also, I had to go to hospital because my feet were so cut they got infected. Sorry, this is gross.
Okay, I need to throw up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nomads, No Worries. We got an awesome show for you today. We are joined by the Realistic Backpackers. Check out their podcast, The Realistic Backpackers. I'll let them plug their social media stuff as well so I don't butcher that. But we're going to have an awesome interview. We want to talk about sort of the differences between backpacking and what Jack and I think that we do, which we think is different from backpacking, but maybe it's not. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But let me introduce our friends here. If you guys want to, I guess we'll start with Shireen, if you want to give a quick intro.
Yeah, hi, I'm Shireen. I'm Irish, currently in the Philippines. And yeah, I'm a digital nomad slash backpacker. Yeah, that's me. I don't really know what you want me to what else
That's
I'm supposed
good.
to say
That
here.
was perfect.
You're qualified. That's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I'm Abby. I'm English, and I'm actually in the UK at the minute. Used to be a digital nomad, and now actually have a 9-to-5 job. So dealing with annual leave and traveling around that.
It's just boring.
I know, it's
Damn.
sad. It's so
What is
sad.
annual leave for our more American viewers?
Oh, it's like
Like-
holiday days. So we get 4 weeks holiday a year, which, sorry, I know is also quite a big luxury compared to some places in the world. But it's not much when you've gone from traveling full time.
It's
So-
still a lot. It's good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we are quite lucky compared to Americans here. Sorry.
So are you just going to utilize the annual leave to travel now instead of being like
Oh,
a
God,
full-time? Yeah, okay, got
everybody
it.
keeps asking me to do things, and I'm like, sorry, you can't have me because I have to use my annual leave to go abroad. Sorry.
So you just live in one place now?
Yeah, I'm actually back living with my parents now. While I like try and figure out what I'm doing. Yeah, and just chilling, working, going to an office every day, which I've never done in my adult life. So
She does
It's
also
all
threaten
new.
at least once a week to quit her job, just to be clear.
I
So,
know.
like, by
And
the
my
time this episode
bosses-
comes, yeah, and my boss has listened to the podcast, and she's always talking about quitting her job on our podcast. So,
my
Well,
bosses are literally like, oh, so like, you gonna settle down soon? And I'm like, what's settling down?
You're like trying to do the opposite. Okay, that's
I
cool.
know. It's okay though.
Okay. So let's talk about backpacking. But okay, Jack, let's talk about like what it is that we do. So I guess the way that I approach the digital nomad life and the full-time travel, like we travel full-time, and I feel like I'll stay in a place for like a month or two. Like we'll usually stay in an Airbnb, which I know is different. You guys talk about staying in hostels a lot. I don't know, and we'll do this sort of slow travel thing. Jack doesn't plan as much as I do. Like I'll plan to stay in a place for a month or two. Jack will just go to a place, and if he likes it, he ends up being there for like 4 months sometimes. You've been in Miami for a few months. I don't know, Jack, how would you describe what we do?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely more organized than me. That's why you're also in charge of the pod, because if I was in charge of it, like, we wouldn't have gotten this far. So kudos to Steve.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Wait, who's in charge of yours?
Sheree.
Shireen. Okay. Yeah, there's usually like one. I don't know how to. We're both partners, co-hosts, but there's usually one alpha or.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
okay.
I think there's always one that's a type A personality and one that's a type B personality, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I love being a type B. Jack, do you?
but it's
I don't know. I don't. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's quite funny though, because when it comes to actually traveling, we're the exact opposite. Because
Yeah.
Abby will plan all of our travels. When we like last year, we pretty much only traveled together. And Abby did all of the planning. I did not a thing. I didn't even know what countries we were going to at times. Whereas I generally just tend to like rock when it comes to traveling, just tend to like rock up. But then when it comes to life, I need to have everything like way more organized than Abby does.
See, that's crazy. Now, Steve and I have done a little bit of joint traveling together. It's always been super fun. I'm kind of missing him a little bit. I was like, man, I need to come to Bogota for a weekend or something, you know? But I'm just very thankful that Steve chose me for the pod. I mean, I get to wake up, have my coffee. He's got everything set up. It's amazing. So I definitely feel that. Okay, but I guess our situation is we work, I guess, fairly normal. I guess we try to keep US hours. And so and we try to do 9 to 5, but we're just not in an office. And so
Full time?
I think that's really worked out for us pretty well.
Do you work full time, both of you?
Yeah, I work full time. I'm a software engineer, which is a lot of flexibility, so it's pretty project based. I think Steve has a bit more of a customer facing role, I think, right?
It's not, yeah, not as much. I used to be more in like heavy sales roles that were super customer facing, and those weren't nomad friendly enough. So this is more marketing. So I feel like I don't deal with customers or meetings quite as much anymore. So I have a bit more freedom, but yeah, I try to work US hours in case my boss needs to get a hold of me. Having a boss is not cool. That's not very nomad friendly. You gotta not have a boss. That's another goal of mine.
Yeah, I would agree.
So when you guys do your hostel stuff, do you go to co-working places to actually get work done? Do you feel like you can be productive in the hostel? You know, chilling in the hammock? Like, what's the
Yeah.
vibe there when you're trying to lock in?
And before you answer that question, I guess let's get because we just did our kind of broad what we do. Like, I guess could we get a broad of what? Yeah, before we dive into the specifics, get like a broad definition of what backpacking is and why that's maybe different.
And this is why he controls the podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get reprimanded for that later. Like, just totally like out of turn, skipping to page 5 already.
That's good. No, that's good. I mean, we do have that question written down, obviously, but
yeah. The fact that you guys had questions, we were like, "Whoa, we really need to step up our game." We have guests.
Okay.
We literally just like be like, "Hey, we want to be on the pod? Like, talk about this," and then we just like go with it and see what happens. And you guys said there were like more questions. We were like, "Oh God, do we need to like do homework?"
Oh no, I just thought like we wanted to be legit. Like we just didn't want you guys to think that we are idiots. We didn't want you to know that we're idiots. We want to at least make it look like we're serious.
We are too, don't worry.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We'll have to edit out that part though. Like I don't want everyone to know we're idiots. You just told everyone.
You don't want people to know you're type B or whatever.
Yeah, we actually need a follow-up question on that because I don't know what type A and type B is, but like I
only learned what it is last year for the first time, and I was fuming when I found out that I was type A. So
I feel like it's kind of an insult, right? Someone tried to call me a type A the other day, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I don't think I'm type A. Like I'm maybe more type A than Jack, but like overall, like I feel like I'm pretty chill. Like I feel like I'm being attacked by being called type A. I'm like, no, I'm fun. Like I'm chill.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You did exactly what I did when Abby called me out for being type A, which would like defend the fact that I'm not type A, which all it does is make you sound extremely type A.
Damn it! Yeah, that's true.
It's okay, Steve. We got this. We're fine. Type A's are cool.
We're so cool. Okay.
You know, without the type A's, we wouldn't be on this call right now. So gotta give them their flowers.
True.
Okay, so backpacking. What is it?
Backpacking essentially, well, in the traditional sense, it's literally putting everything you want to take with you into a rucksack, putting it on your back, and then off you go. And I guess like traditional backpackers are very budget friendly, so they stay in hostels, they'll eat local food. Just basically try and do it as affordable as possible. Although actually when Shireen met me, I had a suitcase because I was moving to Australia. It was the worst decision I've ever done in my life. Highly recommend if you're actually backpacking to have a backpack. because it's not fun with a suitcase. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of the general gist about.
But I feel like now, like the term, it's such a much looser term because I feel like everybody does it in, like, I feel like now you say backpacking, but also ultimately I think it's just like traveling for like a longer period of time and seeing multiple places. Like, because I think people do it in all different ways. So like whether they do, like there is people that still do it really, really budget friendly. Then you've got mid-size, and then you've got like luxury backpackers, which they're still calling themselves backpackers, but like they're staying in villas. You know, is it backpacking? I don't know. But like, so yeah, I think like now it's just more like that, like longer travel and seeing a lot of places in that.
Okay, I feel like it's pretty similar to what Jack and I do. I don't know the difference at this. I still haven't figured that out. I do have a suitcase though, so I have a backpack and a suitcase. So I guess I'm not a backpacker.
No, you
Yeah.
are, because some backpackers do take suitcases these days. Whatever makes you
Really fun
comfortable, you know?
ones.
Whatever makes you happy.
Okay.
I just like one time I remember rolling a suitcase like down like a dirt road, and that just hit me. I was like, dude, I can't.
No,
Well, so
try
Abby's
carrying.
5 foot, right?
Yeah, try carrying
20
like a
kilo
big
suitcase.
25 kg suitcase through water onto a boat. Not a vibe.
All 5 foot of her.
25 kg. Hold on 1 second.
Like about 56 pounds.
Oh, sorry. Okay. There we go.
Oh, that is a lot.
55 pounds.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wait, so where was this at?
That was in Cambodia on a tiny little island. Basically, the reason why I had a suitcase because I was planning to move to Australia forever. Then the plans changed once I got to Australia.
You didn't like
So
it
then
or
I
what?
No, I did. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but then I was like, I don't think I want to move here yet. I still want to move there at some point. Just hasn't happened yet. I then left again. Yeah. Then we travelled through Central America last year and various other places, and then decided to come back to the UK for a bit. But the goal at some point is still to move to Oz.
That's pretty interesting. I've met a few people while traveling from the UK who also kind of set their destination as Australia. Is there some
Everybody
sort of
does it.
connection?
Do you know
Really?
what's so funny is so one of my Aussie mates who lives in the UK, like all Aussies want to come here and all Brits want to go there.
And we're just left out, huh? No one wants to
Yeah.
come to America anymore?
I actually lived in the US for a year.
Oh, really? Where at?
Yeah. I lived in San Francisco for a year. I studied there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
It's
an
one of my
exchange
favorite
program.
cities. I love
I
San
love it.
Francisco.
Miss it. Best year ever.
But you guys share the same queen, right? Like UK and Australia, and like maybe
Oh.
no.
No, UK and Australia do.
No, not
she
you,
gets
not
really
you.
touchy about the Irish English thing.
Don't worry, we have questions about that too. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for those.
UK have the same queen.
Okay, that's in Canada maybe like kinda. I
No.
think she's kinda no. Okay.
No. Also, sorry, we don't have a queen anymore. Actually, we have a king.
King.
Who
Yeah.
died.
Yep.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I remember that. Yeah, that was a tough day. Would you consider yourself a royalist?
No.
I heard that term recently. Okay,
No.
not
What
a
does that mean?
royalist.
Absolutely not. A royalist
You're
is
just
people
really-
who actually like the royal family.
Yeah, you're really into the
So
royal
everyone
family.
doesn't like the royal family? That's like the standard?
I'd say it's like a
Or
50-50
politics.
split. Yeah, it's kind of like most people do. Well, yeah. I guess depending on how you vote, depends on whether you like the royal family or not, generally.
Makes sense.
I also
Is
think
there
a lot
wh-
more people liked the Queen than like the King.
Yeah, Queenie was quite
yeah.
progressive, you see. So I feel like quite a few people actually liked her as a person. King Charles is quite problematic as a human being. So yeah.
It's funny you say that's like politics, but like I don't know, to us when we hear king and queen, we think it's like a silly fairy tale, but you're like, "Oh, that's politics." We're like, "No. We have real like we have weird shit over here that we consider politics."
Yeah.
King and Queen is like a Disney movie.
Dude, I think of Disney too.
Yeah.
They're like figureheads.
like, oh,
though.
I've
They
been to
don't really mean
Orlando.
anything. They don't really mean anything. They're not allowed to really do anything. We just pay them money in our taxes, which I don't agree with. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel like they have enough money, but anyway.
Right.
Okay, so your podcast title talks about obviously the title of the podcast is Realistic Backpackers. What does that term mean to you? Like, why is it realistic? What's not realistic? What are we talking about?
I think basically we just didn't want to glamorize it. Like we wanted to talk about like the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I think everyone has this like perception that like every day is incredible. You're happy all the time. It fixes all your life problems. Life's so much like cheaper, like all those kind of things. And it's actually like, no, like bad things can happen. Obviously, we also don't want to put people off because I think everybody should do it once in their life or at least try it. But I think we just wanted to bring like the raw to backpacking.
That's so. What's any feedback you get from your listeners? Like, what's something that maybe appears realistic but is always like is super unrealistic, and people it like surprises people or something like that?
I think just like every like I think sometimes people forget that when you're traveling, like you have to actually do the like traveling part. It's not just like you don't just like arrive on a beach and like everything is perfect. Like for example, like I'm in the Philippines at the minute. I'm in El Nido, and it hasn't stopped raining for 2 days. So like, you know, whereas like, and like this is like the realistic side of being in a tropical country is that it's not going to stop raining for 2 days, versus like probably on social media, like I think people like just like genuinely most people just won't post these days. You know, they won't talk about these days and the fact that like like they can't go outside. So like I feel like things like that like people just think it's like just always really really good. And I feel like exhaustion is like another one out.
Yeah, I feel like travel burnout is like, I think it's becoming more of a thing now that people are talking about, like travel creators do talk about it now, but traveling is exhausting, like absolutely exhausting. I don't think I've recovered still. So when I finished traveling in January, I was away for like 2.5 years non-stop, basically, and I had severe travel burnout. I think I'm still not over it, and it's May.
So being back home, then, what is your favorite part then? You know,
I think it's just like having people around, sleeping in the same bed every night. Yeah, just like seeing my mates. Like I've got a few friends that have like got married and had babies and things since I've been away. So, you know, like meeting the babs and spending time with them, all that kind of stuff. Because I think like me and Shireen talk about this a lot these days. Like we're all kind of like at the age now where adulting is starting well and truly, and it's not fun. I personally want to go back to being 17, but anyway, I think it's yeah, and I think it's just by being away all the time, you're missing out on stuff, and it's nice to just have some time with like the people that you love and care about, and like check in again. And it's definitely not something I can do forever. Severe commitment issues, some might say, but I think
Your therapist.
No, but that's good. Jack and I have talked about that. I mean, it's one of my biggest dilemmas, right? Like I love travel, I love seeing the world, but it's like I have all my mates, as you call them, back home, and it's like I want to stay connected to those people, and it is hard when you're in like the frickin' Philippines or whatever to keep in touch with everyone. So Jack and I have we talked about like, you know, making a point to always come back. You know, we have like weddings for our friends, and that gives us a reason to come back and see everybody. But yeah, that's the one thing I struggle with, because I really do love travel, but I love my people as well. So it's tough. But
pros and cons to everything, though, because then it's like when I go back and visit these people, you know, I'm like, man, it's really good to see you guys, but I don't want to go to that bar again. I need like 6 more months before I can go to that bar again. Like I need to chill out. So it's just, you just need a little bit of that, and then you're ready to go again, you know?
Same.
Yeah,
there's
sure.
there's only so long I can go home for, and then I'm like, great, it's been great, like I really missed you, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
So where you are in the Philippines, is this like, would you consider this like a pretty big nomad town, nomad area? Did you choose this place for any particular reason? Maybe the beach or the vibe?
Well,
or
so I was
rain?
so funny you should say that. So I was here this time 2 years ago, and I was like basically on an island a few hours north of where I am now. And I really wanted to come here. And the reason I didn't get to come here was because I got stuck on the other island in a typhoon. For like not like the tail end of a typhoon, like didn't get hit in the center, but basically couldn't get off this island for like 10 days. So I never got to come to El Nido, which is where I am now. So I was determined when I came back to the Philippines that I wanted to come to El Nido and see it. And it has rained constantly since I've been here. So yeah, I mean,
What's
like
what's a typhoon?
so
Sorry.
it's like a cyclone.
Got it.
Yeah, I think it's like depending on whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. One's a
Got it.
typhoon, one's a
Okay.
cyclone, something like that.
Okay. Sorry.
So yeah, just really bad winds and really bad rain. That's just like. So that's why I wanted to come here, but again, it hasn't stopped raining, so I haven't actually seen any of these incredible beaches that they're supposed to be. So
Well, hopefully it'll stop. It's got to stop. They got to run out of water sometime.
yeah. No, that's what I keep telling myself.
Jack.
So are you-
Jack, you should. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say you should ask your hostel question.
I was gonna actually. You read my mind. Wow, that was incredible. But I was curious. You know, your situation right now. Are you in a hostel? Are you in? This is kind of the prelude question, Steve. Are you in a hostel, Airbnb? What's your current accommodation?
Yeah, so no, I'm actually not. I'm staying in like a little guest house with like actually a really cute local family.
Cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Upgraded.
Yeah. No, so basically, and again, like kind of, me and Abby have talked about this a lot, but last year we basically spent the entire year traveling together, which Abby is still burnt out from, but we pretty much exclusively stayed in hostels, which as digital nomads, we can like talk about in a second. But this year, I'm trying to slow down my travel a little bit. Last year we did the whole like moving every 2 or 3 days thing, like burning ourselves out like crazy. So this year I'm trying to like slow down, but I'm also trying to like build up my work and stuff and kind of make that a bit more of a long-term thing. So with that, I'm trying to, stay in hostels less and stay kind of in like guest houses or apartments and stuff a bit more, because for, podcast recordings, for calls that I have, like all that kind of stuff, it's just a lot more conducive to that. But being solo, definitely not staying in a hostel. I miss like the social aspect when I am on my own. So like I'm still trying to find that balance, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of going between the both on this trip.
Okay, so let's break it down then. What are the pros and cons of a hostel versus an apartment? Let's get specific. Like you said, you're burned out of it maybe a little bit because you need to focus more, but then you're missing people because it's maybe a little more isolating.
Yeah, so I definitely
what's the
think like the biggest pro, especially if you're solo, like is the social aspect of a hostel. Like when you stay in hostels, like the vast majority of people that are there are also there to like make friends because they're traveling, and that's like one of the best parts about traveling is the people that you meet. So if you are on your own, I mean if you're in a group as well, but like especially if you're on your own, like you can just like go to the common area in a hostel and just like say, hey, can I sit here, and start chatting to somebody, and that's incredible. And there's kind of no effort involved in like I guess like making friends now. The level of those friendships are like whatever, but like that social aspect.
That's how
like,
we met, though.
That is actually how we met. in a hostel bar in Bangkok.
Wow. Okay, so how did that happen? Who was the outgoing one?
I was. She sat down looking absolutely terrified. And I
sorry, for context, I quit like a 7-year corporate career to go traveling 2.5 years ago. And I flew into Bangkok, Thailand, and had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was super burnt out. Like, I was like, what have I done? I like roll into this hostel, and I'm like, I'm like sitting in my room in the hostel door being like, right, Shireen, you're going to go downstairs and you're going to talk to people. And it took me ages to like, because it can be really, really intimidating, right? Sure. So I like go and I like sit down, and like, as Abby always said, there was like a deer in the headlights.
And Abby, you're like, I'm going to save this girl.
Compared to that is incredible. Yeah, basically I was like, hi, you right?
And we just started talking, and we kind of just ended up, firstly accidentally, but then ended up traveling together for 3.5 months.
Biggest mistake of my life.
Shut up. From that one conversation, yeah.
And I think I read you guys have never gotten into a fight or an argument.
No.
Yeah, which is really bizarre. Like, I think one thing, and we always talk about this, is like when we met as solo travelers, and even though we traveled together for 3.5 months, we did that because like we wanted to. But even when we traveled together for a year last year, like there was times for different reasons. Like I scuba dive, for example, got my scuba diving in. I scuba dive, so sometimes I'll stay in places for like longer so that I can dive or go to different places. So like we'll split up, and like we kind of both always know that like if at any point one or the other of us wants to leave the other person, like that's okay, because ultimately like we started out as solo travelers and we never have had to. But it also takes the pressure of having to like do things all the time together, like if we don't want to. And I feel like that's very, very good for traveling together long term.
Yeah, we used
I
to not
see.
speak to each other. Like,
Oh,
we wouldn't speak to each other till like 2 o'clock every day.
yeah, because we're working, and then yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Well, that's good. You don't need that. That's what good friends are all about. You just pick up where you left off when you're ready to hang out. So kind of the hostel stuff though, right? Did you ever feel, because I'm 33, so I've done my hostel stuff, but if I was to go back to a hostel now, I would feel a little bit like apprehensive, like, oh, am I like
yeah.
too old to be in a hostel? Like, what would you say to a person like me, or
So
what is
like
your perspective on that?
so I'm 31, like I'm nearly 32, so I'm not that much younger, and I still stay in hostels.
Okay.
So and like I get it a lot. Like, do I feel old? And like sometimes, yeah, like like I think sometimes just in general backpacking, like definitely depending on where you are. So like Southeast Asia, like for example, is notoriously quite a young region for backpacking. And so like there is times where like you do just kind of feel old. I think like picking the hostel wisely, like there's hostels that are known for being like party hostels, like if I can run a mile from them, because like they are gonna attract just young people, but also I'm just quite simply too old to stay in a party hostel because I can't handle anything like that anymore. But then there is other hostels that you can find, like where some of them that have like co-working spaces, for example, and like then you kind of know the vibe of the person, because ultimately the age of the person is pretty irrelevant. It's more like the vibe of the people that is, I guess, a little bit more important. So yeah, you can definitely find hostels that like you file in, but also sometimes you will just be older and sometimes just gotta suck it up and get over it.
It's almost like a good rule of thumb might be like, okay, I want to be in a hostel with people who also like have to work, and maybe
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah, so like look for a hostel with a co-working space, or like read the reviews, and like a lot of them will say like that, like they're not party hostels, or that they're quieter, like, and kind of like when they say they're like quieter hostels, generally you will get like the older backpackers staying there, which does tend to be a bit nicer.
So what's the oldest backpacker you guys have met in a hostel?
Ooh,
I say like 60s.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
what
We
was
actually
their
like
Do,
get
vibe?
I think, do you know what? Every single trip I've ever been on, I've always met some like incredible older woman that's like just taking like a break from her life or whatever, and just like it's so inspirational and it's just absolutely thriving in a hostel environment. And I literally love it, because I think there is this like whole like misconception that you have to be young, you have to be single, you have to like have no ties and blah da 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 to be able to travel, and like that's just not true. Like, I remember once I booked a trip to go somewhere on my own, and my mum decided she wanted to come along, and I was like, well, I am staying in a hostel. And she was like, okay. And she literally came and stayed in a hostel with me.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
And like, she was like, oh my God, I literally haven't stayed in a hostel in like 20 years, but like, so fine. And I'm sure if you are older, like, you don't want to be staying in like party hostels in Southeast Asia, but like, there are always older travelers around that are hosteling to keep costs low. Um,
I
you
also
just
think
might not
depending on where
necessarily
you
see them.
are, like in Europe, for example, because like accommodation is expensive, you will get all ages staying in hostels,
Yeah.
because like it's just because they're using it as a way to be able to afford to travel. Whereas, say for example, in Southeast Asia, which is like way more affordable for Westerners, like you'll probably get that less, because it's not much more of a uplift to stay in more private apartments or whatever. So I think like definitely the region will depend on the age group.
This travel burnout thing is interesting to me, and it makes me think like maybe that's a big difference. Like backpacking, like you said, moving every 2 to 3 days. Like I feel like you could get burnout easily, and like Jack and I have been living our lifestyle for like over 5 years now, and maybe we haven't gotten burnout because we do the slower travel and we'll stay in a
You do it
place for
healthily.
like a month or two, you know? I don't know. I just,
No,
yeah,
I
no, I
completely
just,
agree.
It's so
that's one
true.
thought.
We completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's like, I think it's difficult. I think even if you're not working and traveling, even if you're just traveling, there's like this thing called like traveler's guilt, where every day people feel like they have to be doing something because they're in these amazing places. And like
Mhm.
my argument has always been that it's like, you don't do stuff every single day in your normal life, so why would you do it every single day when you're somewhere else just because
Right.
you're somewhere else? And
Yeah.
I think like it is like a real thing. And then when you add like working into that as well, it makes it even worse, right? Because you're always wanting to be doing fun stuff, but you're always having to work. But like also you need to stop and do nothing at some point too. And I think like that's the problem we had last year, is that we never did the like stopping and doing nothing. We were either working or doing all the fun traveling stuff, or like literally traveling from place to place.
Yeah.
Like our
But I,
downtime was the big travel days.
but like I also don't think that like and we say this all the time, like if you are working, do not travel like we traveled last year. Like do not do it. It is like it's genuinely like the biggest mistake that you can
Yeah.
make is to try to travel the way we travel, because like when you're just backpacking and you're not working, like you have a finite amount of time, whether that's because you have to go back to work after 3 6 months, you've got a finite amount of money, whatever the reasoning is, like, you know, you go for 3 4 5 6 months, right? But when like the luxury of working is that you don't run out of money, you've got unlimited time. So like make the most of that by staying in places for a lot longer, by slowing
Yeah.
down, by basically doing all of the things that we didn't do because we didn't get out of the mindset of backpacking. Whereas now, I mean, obviously Abby's gone extremely one way, but even I've like slowed down massively, and like, you know, I'm staying in places for like a week now, which for me is a really long time, right? I know for most people it's not, and you'll
Yeah.
probably be like, oh wow, a week. But like
Yeah.
I've just committed to stay somewhere for 2 weeks, which for me is like, I think it's one of the longest I've ever done in 2.5 years of travel. So I'm definitely like starting to have to slow down because it's not sustainable.
Okay, that's good. I think we found a really big difference then, is like the long-term stays versus the short term. Because yeah,
Definitely.
I definitely don't do stuff every day. But if it's like I'm here for a month or 2 months, I'm like, okay, I'll get to that monument or whatever eventually. I don't feel like I'm rushing trying to do all these things. You know, yesterday my girlfriend and I just watched like TV all day and stayed in. Like we didn't feel like we needed to go out and explore Bogota, because we have the time to do it. So okay, that's good. I'm glad we talked about that one.
I think it's super important. I'll know when I'm feeling a little bit of a burnout when like I go somewhere super cool and I didn't take any pics.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait,
Mm.
why did I not just take pics? I'm like in like such a cool spot. And I'm like, you know what? I think I need to chill for a second.
Yeah.
Or just even when you're like get to the point where like you're seeing these cool things, but like you're not even like really appreciating them the way like you should be. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's when I know that like that's when I'm like, okay, I'm moving too fast because I'm seeing too much that I'm just not appreciating it.
Yeah, and it really hits you when like you're in like a group of people and like there's someone there who's like they're only here for this and they're like loving
Yeah,
it. And I'm like, dude, wait, why am I bored right now? This is stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I think like the classic toxic trait of ours last year was we flew from Colombia to Morocco and didn't even factor in that we were going to be jet lagged, and we just
Yeah,
like
but I
went
I
like
don't believe jet lag's a thing. That's the problem.
yeah.
wow, that's a hot take.
No. Sorry, just to be clear, I know like, but like as in like for myself, I like as in like even when I flew to the Philippines, so like 7 hour time difference, I was like, cool, I'll just like immediately roll back into normal life. Like and like we went like got off the plane, like kept traveling. Next day, like went diving, like all that kind of stuff. I just like refuse to think that jet lag's a thing, and then until I crash, obviously, to be clear,
Yeah, it's a
because it is a
toxic
thing.
trait of ours.
Do you do any
Mm.
planning like, okay, I'm trying to land at night or like, you know,
Don't
that
be
kind of thing?
silly.
Like,
Don't be
So
silly.
my trip from Dublin to the Philippines, I was like in this like budget mindset when I booked the flight. So it took me 48 hours, 2 nights sleeping in on an airport floor, and then I just like rolled through once I got here. Yeah. So no would be the answer to that.
Wow, you and Steve, I've seen Steve sleep on an airport floor. Maybe we can dive into that. Let's talk about airport floor sleeping tips.
Okay, so there's a website called
Yeah.
sleepinginairports.net, and I've utilized that a lot. Like it'll give you the
What?
best. It'll be
Mm.
like go to this terminal, go to this spot. There's really good sleep. There's couches, or like it'll give you the best places
Wow.
to sleep.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
actually like I don't know who made it, but like whoever they are, they're like they're godsend. Like honestly.
Genius.
Yeah, literally,
Yeah.
it's great. And then I think like they work off like people like will like be like, oh, by the way, there's now this as well, and they like update it. So yeah, it's a
Mhm.
really cool site.
I'm gonna have to
Yes.
check that out. I might need to sleep on the floor to feel something. You know,
Yeah,
I'm a
I
little
just
too. I
want
got
you
a
know
really
what?
comfortable bed. Like
I just wouldn't recommend it 2 nights in a row. Is what I will say.
No,
That was
no, it's
that
a
was
it's a
my
one.
that was my downfall.
No, at that point you get your hostel or whatever you gotta
Yeah.
do. It's a one night sleeping on the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah, for
but
sure.
we're still maintaining you were not jet lagged.
So like as in like I refuse to say I was jet lag correct.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's chill. I'm just confirming.
Yeah. No jet lag over here. Because it's not really a thing in my world.
What a great mindset, you know?
Okay, guys, can we
Toxic.
talk about the Irish versus British thing? I shouldn't say versus, but I
It
just think
definitely
it's really
is a
interesting.
versus. It definitely is a
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
versus.
100%.
So I've been listening to your podcast, and the first thing that stuck out to me was the difference in accents.
Yeah. I also
And
just, by the way, like don't have a very Irish accent.
No, she doesn't.
Like comparatively to no. Look, I completely
Okay.
understand right now that you're making this face, Steve. I do really understand that, but like I genuinely don't actually have a like as in if I'm around Irish people, they're like, oh, I didn't actually
I
realize
don't
you're
understand
Irish.
her.
oh, what do
Yeah,
they think
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
are?
Well,
When she's
so
around-
basically.
Go.
No, so basically, like I lived in the UK for like 5 years, and then like I've again like been traveling with like British people for the last like 3. So I feel like my accent is very much so like neutraled out, just because people can't understand me when I speak like my normal accent. But like then when I'm around Irish people, if you then hear me speaking, you genuinely wouldn't understand me because it's just like a whole
Okay.
other level. Yeah.
You said
Okay,
traveling
I
with
guess-
British people with such disdain, then, hun. Just
Sorry.
to point that out.
I know, traveling with these Brits, But no, I guess the thing that stuck out to me is I thought maybe the Irish accent, in a way, sounds more like the American accent because you actually say your R's, whereas
Mhm.
British, it's like they're like ah. That
Water.
would be my
Water.
Wow, that was
I
good.
don't speak like that, though, do I? Water.
No, Abby's accent is like an extremely posh British accent. Like
And I don't know where it's
extremely.
come
Oh.
from.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's
Like
come
she,
from.
like, as in, like, I'll also to be clear, she's not a posh British person. So I don't know where the accents come from.
Do you say
Yeah.
British or English? Like you say British, right?
I feel like it depends. Both. Either. Depends what you're talking about. I don't know.
It
I
took
guess
me a
it-
while. I had to do a big deep dive. Okay, it took me like a week. I put a bunch of hours into figuring out the difference between Great Britain, England, and the UK. Like for
You see,
my whole
I would
life,
say the
I didn't
majority of
know.
people in the UK don't know the answer to that.
No.
So don't worry about
Okay.
it.
Okay, cool. Good. Jack,
So
did you have a
is-
question?
Yeah, is it called the British breakfast or the English breakfast?
English breakfast.
English.
Okay.
Yeah, because like Scotland and Wales have separate.
And I know Irish breakfast. That's one of my favorites.
What's an
But do you
Irish
guys get-
breakfast?
It's like it's actually very similar to an English breakfast, but you got
Oh, I think
like pudding,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Sorry.
and
Oh,
you got
God.
like beans, and you got
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, fair.
eggs.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Beans. There's no beans on an Irish breakfast. It's beans on an
No
English
beans.
breakfast.
Whoops. Yeah, that's
No
British.
beans.
Okay.
Now, Steve
Yes,
and I always kind of have this running joke where it's like everywhere we go in the world, there's
Mm.
always an Irish bar.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do you feel about that? Do you think
Yeah.
that's true or false? And do you go?
Yeah, great question. No, so there is always an Irish bar. There is like few certain things like about traveling, but one is that you can always find an Irish bar. No matter where you go. And I would say, do I go? Like, I would never actively go to an Irish bar, but more often than not, the party's probably at the Irish bar because,
It's a safe bet. Yeah.
yeah. So because of that, I do probably end up in Irish bars. However, I am extremely judgmental of Irish bars because there's a lot of Irish bars that like aren't run by Irish people. So they're just bars with an Irish name, and they
Yeah.
really, really annoy me. So like immediately when I walk into an Irish bar, I'm like, who owns this place? Because I'll tell you immediately whether or not it's a real Irish bar. And if it's a real Irish bar, I actually don't mind going into it. But if so, more often than not, it's not. But yeah, you will always like. Actually, a friend of mine just hiked Everest Base Camp, and like on like I think like at like 4,000 meters, there's an Irish bar.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, so you will always find an Irish bar.
Sometimes you can walk in and you're just like, this does not look like Ireland or anything that resembles a real Irish bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think again, I feel like if you have an Irish bar, you know you're going to attract people because it's going to be where the party's at.
Oh yeah. So do you guys get stereotypes based on where you're from? Like when you're traveling, like, oh, you're British, that means you worship queens, or
I've literally had it before where somebody said to me, I can't believe you're English because I don't normally like English girls.
Nice. Really nice thing to say to someone.
Right?
Fair,
I think
though.
yeah, I feel like we do, as Brits do have some serious stereotypes, and none of them are very good ones, to be honest.
Like I
I'm
feel like
not
the classic
surprised
is it's
people
like
hate us.
like when me and Abby are together, if like people say like, oh, like where are you from? And Abby's like, oh, I'm from England, and then they'll turn to me and they'll be like, oh, are you as well? And I'm like, oh no, I'm from Ireland. And you visibly see them get happier
Yeah.
when they hear I'm from Ireland versus being no, I like that, but that's like a thing.
It's true.
Like it's
true.
Yeah. Like they will get more excited because I'm not English.
I also think as well, though, when we're traveling, like there's thousands of Brits, like we're everywhere. Whereas like you don't often see, well, unless you're in Melbourne, Australia, you don't see many Irish people around. So I think also it's like, oh my God, there's actually someone from somewhere else. Wow.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Well, also I feel like Irish culture is like it travels well. Maybe it's because of the bars, you know? But I could see people be like, oh man, this is sick. Like let's like chug a beer
I
or
feel
something.
like I feel like the biggest stereotype when you meet if somebody meets me is that they will assume that I'm a heavy drinker. Are they wrong? I don't know. But like that's definitely like the biggest Irish stereotype is that we love a drink. And I do feel like we play into that a lot.
I tried to match Shireen one night.
Sorry, no, this is the second time we've ever gone out together.
And well actually no, sorry. Shireen had drunk. We were drinking buckets. We were in Thailand. Shireen had already drunk her whole bucket. I'd had maybe like 4 sips. One of the boys was like, "Oh, come on, catch up." So obviously, stupidly down the whole thing. And then literally 10 minutes later, Shireen had to take me home because I couldn't stand up. And she had to take me for food on the way home. And I literally like passed out on the toilet floor. And then I was meant to be getting on a bus the next day, which is like notorious for being like a horrible journey, very windy. I like started eating a packet of crisps on the bus because I was like, I need to get some carbs in me. Didn't even finish the bag of crisps, and I threw up into said bag of crisps.
On the straight road, by the way. She hadn't made it to the windy parts yet.
So never try and match an Irish.
Abby learned very quickly to never do that again.
That's awesome. I kind of wanted to switch to more travel destination questions.
Okay.
Okay, before we do, I have a really quick question.
Okay.
Abby, just a really quick one. So, Abby, are you still like sober or something?
Yeah, I am. 442 days sober.
Wow.
Nice. That's like longer than my Duolingo streak. But okay, so for me, when I travel, part of like how I want to explore is like I'm kind of not getting as into the drinking thing anymore. Like Gen Z is like not really about it. Like I'm kind of like getting away from it. Like I've done plenty of that in my life. So I'm kind of, I don't know. But for me, when I'm in a new city and I want to explore it, like part of how I do that is just by going to bars. And like, that's how I kind of get the vibe and get the energy and like the locals. So I guess is there like a non-alcohol alternative to that you would
So
recommend?
I think I'm just like a bit of an interesting sober person because like I will still be the life and soul of the party even though I don't drink. Like people like are astounded by the fact that I'm sober doing some of the activities I do sometimes.
Good.
So therefore I would still be that person in a bar. I just wouldn't be drinking the alcohol.
Okay.
And like that's the thing, like one of my best mates, the night I met her boyfriend, her like current boyfriend, he thought I was like absolutely smashed. Like he could not believe that I was sober because I think I just radiate that energy anyway. So I think like I would still be the person in the bar, I just wouldn't be drinking the booze.
Okay. Good deal. No, sorry. And I don't want to spend too much time on that. That was just a quick question because I needed to figure something out. Jack wanted to talk about destinations. What do you got, dude?
Yeah, I just kind of want to do like a fun thing, like what's, for each continent, like what was your favorite country that you'd been to and why? First that comes to mind,
Okay, each continent.
Sure. If that's too much, we can just stick with one.
North America, Canada. South America, we can't really do because we've literally spent 4 days in Colombia.
Okay.
Africa,
I guess do
Morocco.
Central America.
Okay,
Yeah,
Central
we'll count
America.
Which I know is not a continent, by the way, before somebody comes at me.
Costa Rica /
Okay.
Guatemala. One or the other. I'm gonna say both.
I love Guatemala
I
personally.
love
Guatemala's sick,
Guatemala.
yeah.
Same.
I love Guatemala.
Very underrated.
I agree. Africa, I'd say Morocco, but I've only been to 3 countries in Africa. Asia, Malaysia or Indonesia, and then I guess like Oceania or Australasia, probably New Zealand.
Then I feel like Asia obviously
And I
also
forgot
includes the
Europe.
Middle East, and you've got to include Jordan.
Yeah, true. Jordan.
You've got to include
Yeah, sorry.
Jordan.
Jordan is my
That's
favorite.
the one I always say when people ask me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
always say
Jordan is my
My,
favorite.
like if I just pick 2 in the whole world, it's Japan and Jordan.
Yeah.
Completely.
Jordan's incredible. The food,
Yeah.
the
The
sights,
people,
the vibes.
the
My
people are
favorite country in the
incredible.
world.
Yeah.
Now, Abby, I did some research and I saw that you did a camper van in New Zealand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did many moons ago now, but yeah.
So how do you compare living in the camper van to maybe a hostel or something like that? Would you do it again? Did you get sick of it?
So I've done a camper van trip around New Zealand, and then I also did like a camping trip down the west coast of Australia. I think camper van is like super chill because everything's just inside, right? Like the only annoying thing is having to put the bed down every night, but like you've got kitchen, or sorry, at least in my boyfriend at the time was like didn't really do backpacking, so we had a really nice camper van, and so we had like a kitchen and everything else, so that was like, and like a shower, so that was like great. But I guess if you're doing it more budget friendly, which I guess like backpackers tend to do, like you wouldn't have that. So I guess the hard thing then is like not having a kitchen, and in countries like Australia or New Zealand, hostels do have kitchens because obviously food's a bit more expensive. So then you obviously have to have all the like camping supplies and stuff. So that's like a bit faffy. But other than that, like I absolutely loved it. I love the camper vanning because like you can just stop where you want, and that's the difference between getting public transport, is it's just not as flexible, and that's why like we hire cars in places and all that kind of stuff, because it just gives you that much more flexibility. And then like camping, again, it was a bit of a faff putting up a tent every single day.
Excuse me, can we go over that word? Faff.
What word?
Faff.
Faff. Like just a bit
Like that.
inconvenient. Bit
Okay.
inconvenient.
Like,
Sorry.
Is that like
bit
FAF?
like FAFF, like a bit like
Yeah.
there's just you got to kind of do this and this, like it's just a
It's just a bit annoying, a bit inconvenient.
yeah. It's like
Okay.
things to do.
I love that. Is that, do you guys both share that word in your vocabulary? Like,
It's a British word though.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. No.
It's just some English slang in there for your listeners.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, the camping again was like so fun because again you've got the flexibility to kind of set up wherever you want, but then obviously you don't have like toilets and that kind of stuff. So Yeah.
And you have to find a campsite.
Yes, although yeah, again, depending on where you are, like Australia and New Zealand are pretty good because they have free camp spots kind of most places. You don't have to travel too far to get one. The only thing that you do have to think about is fuel, which we did mess up a few times. A few times we had to turn around and go back because we realised we weren't actually going to be able to make it without fuel. So yeah. Yeah.
Did we get Shireen's favorite country? Like, do you guys have the same ones, or do you have different ones, Shireen? Favorite countries?
So Japan is definitely one of my favorites.
Right.
Okay.
I'm actually Iranian, so Iran
cool.
is also one of my favorite countries to visit. My family, but also to because it's so beautiful. And anywhere else? Oh, I feel like an honorable mention for El Salvador is always needed.
Yes.
Because I do think it's a
Nice.
very special country. So
That's good. I was born in Japan, but I haven't been back, since I was a baby. But we're going later this year, like in December. So
yeah, I love it.
yeah,
So
I'm excited.
much. I got stuck in another typhoon in Japan. So
Damn, you gotta watch out for the typhoons. I didn't even know what those were 30 minutes ago, but
well, yeah. So like this time 2 years ago, I got stuck in 3 typhoons in 3 countries in 3 months.
What the hell? You're like a typhoon chaser.
Yeah. I'm not great with the weather.
Shireen's cursed.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, I don't know what you did to deserve that, but
yeah.
I mean,
No, neither.
right now you look pretty dry though, like, so that's good.
I'm currently inside, thankfully, but when I go from this co-working space back to my guest house, I will be soaked. I can tell you that because I can still see the rain bashing off the window. So.
And I feel like when you talk about this experience, it just like reminds me that like traveling like never ever goes according to plan. Like even if you don't get hit with a typhoon, like there's always like some snafu that might potentially happen. And do you have any maybe tips or tricks or mindsets to be able to overcome that, right? Because if you are traveling all the time, if you let that stuff get to you, then
you won't enjoy it. Like it's funny because if we go back to that like version that 2.5 years ago in Bangkok when me and Abby met, like I was like that, like I used to stress out literally every single thing because it was just like in my nature. And like you just and like I feel like even now, like when I meet people that have been traveling for like a few months, say they're on like a 3-month backpacking trip and they're nearly 3 months into that trip, and they're getting really, really stressed over the small things like, being late or, your transfer not turning up. That's a classic. Like it's never going to be on time. You're always going to be late, right? And like when people, I feel like are a few months into traveling and they're still getting stressed about those little things, I'm like, have you enjoyed your trip at all? Because like if you're sweating those like tiny little things, like when something actual happens to you, like it's gonna really derail your life. So like I feel like you kind of just have to learn to just like go with the flow. Like when we were in Mexico last year, we got a night bus to San Cristobal and got off the night bus, and I ended up sitting in the bus station for 10 hours because there was protests going on outside and we couldn't leave, and they like locked the bus station because they thought that the protesters were going to riot the bus station. And so but we just literally were like, yeah, okay, I guess we'll just sit here on the floor and do some work. Like, I mean, what else are we going to do? So yeah, I feel like you just kind of have to just like get used to just rolling with it sometimes.
That is a hell of a thing to have to roll with. I mean, that's
what I mean.
crazy.
Like, is it like most of the time stuff like that is not going to happen, but then sometimes stuff like that is going to happen. And like if you're getting stressed about like the small everyday things that are common in traveling, which is being late and bad weather are probably like the 2 most common ones. If you're getting stressed about those things, like you're gonna like struggle when something big actually does happen.
Don't sweat the small stuff, as we say in America.
And
exactly.
expect the unexpected. Another cliche, but that's
nice.
Just always expect
nice.
things to go wrong, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And also like it will always work out. That's the other thing. Like even if like you end up getting stuck somewhere for an extra couple of days, you miss one place, you miss a flight, it takes you a day longer to get somewhere, like it will work out. It'll just take a little bit longer and you just kind of go like you'll get there. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's
a little bit of
as well.
optimism.
Yeah, go ahead, Ivy.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think as well, like traveling actually just makes you a less anxious person. Like Shireen would find this baffling to to know, but I was once a very highly strung, very anxious person, and like it just takes it out of you. Your first backpacking trip, like you just have to take things in your stride. Like my first night as a solo traveler at age 18, I got locked out of all my bank accounts, had no access to no money, no access to anything, and you just have to take these things into stride. And like Shireen said, they do work out, so you just can't really get stressed over things you can't really control, you know?
Yeah.
Good life lessons almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like you really learn a lot about yourself traveling.
What other fun questions do we have? What's an essential item you can't travel without? What do you guys have?
Can I guess what Abby's is going to be?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to either be earplugs or a face mask.
Yeah, true. But I was also actually going to say a travel adapter, because I had a 6-month period where I didn't have one because mine broke and we couldn't find one. So me and Shireen were sharing one. That was quite traumatic.
Yeah, it was literally traumatic.
Wait, sharing a what? I think I missed all that with the accents.
Travel adapter like this.
Oh, an adapter.
I know we're a podcast
for plugging stuff
like one of these. Yeah.
You know what's hilarious is like I'm in Miami and I have all this stuff that I bought from around the world that I need an adapter now for it to work in America.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I have like
Yeah, so mine is like my permanent plug, because like nothing I really own anymore has like a UK/Irish plug.
Yeah, like why am I using an adapter in my own country? It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, always.
So Abby, sounds like you take sleep very seriously. If Shireen guessed you need a mask and earplugs. Okay,
yeah, Shireen,
Abby sleeps like you would put somebody in a coffin. She lies flat on her back, headphones in, mask on, and just like does not move. And it's actually really, really scary. Like if you're staying in a hostel, you walk in, especially because Abby loves like a 9 p.m. bedtime. So if you come into your hostel room after like 9:30, you just see this girl like literally lying like she's like in a coffin, like Dracula. Terrifying.
Okay, Abby, what do you think Shireen's essential travel item is?
A portable charger or a pair of Crocs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have talked about Crocs a lot on your podcast, like more than I hear in normal everyday life, which is great.
Yeah, I'm wearing Crocs right now. It's the only pair of shoes I have. It's the only pair of shoes I have.
They're versatile. They're great. They're great for travel, honestly.
I know how versatile a pair of Crocs is, guys. You can go, you can do you can do everything in Crocs. They're the best shoes for traveling. And if you don't have a pair, get a pair. And if you think they're not cool, they are.
Oh, they're cool now. Things have kind of come around, like people hated on Nickelback for a while. Now Nickelback is cool. Crocs, kind of same thing. Like people have hated on them so much that now it's become like, it kind of went ironically cool. And now it's just like truly cool. I don't know.
Well, like both Abby and I have had to replace Crocs because we've. I don't know.
Go for it. No, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, I also think I actually forgot what I was gonna say now. So carry on.
Great, yeah.
Do you guys have bling on your Crocs?
No. Well, so Abby really wants to get. They're called gibbets.
Oh, really? That's a word?
Yeah. But I just think we would lose them, so that's why I've always been against them. But then I heard a story recently, and this is very Crocs niche, but that this girl put her Crocs on and took a step, got her toenail stuck in them, and her whole toenail came off. Yeah.
That would happen to you, Shireen.
Yeah. And look, well, that's like, okay, I recently lost all my toenails. So, like, they're just very special to me, my toenails, now that they're growing back.
Okay, new fear unlocked. Crocs can eat your toenails. But how'd you lose all your toenails? What? You just slipped out?
No, so we went on like a 3-day hike in Indonesia, and I was not mentally, physically, or emotionally prepared for this hike. It was way harder than we anticipated. But I did it in just like trainers, runners, I don't know what you want, like just like sports shoes, which was a bad idea anyway. I lost all 10 of my toenails. And it's only, and also, I lost all 10 toenails. Also had to go to hospital because my feet were so cut they got infected. Sorry, this is gross. But so only in the last 6 months have my toenails grown back and not fallen off again. And that was 2 years ago.
Okay. Wait, I don't understand. Okay, but the shoes are on your feet, right?
I don't
No
like.
one's even. She's a bit weak, really, because like some of the porters were literally in flip flops.
Yeah, they do this every day, babes.
So
I haven't
how
done
do they
exercise
come
in 9
off?
months. So
Yeah, how does that happen?
I think like going up and down, I think it was like they were like rubbing, and then a couple of them were like bruised. Like I don't really know. And the thing was, they didn't all come off immediately. Like it was over the space of like a month. They just like one by one all fell off. It was I don't know what we're talking about. This is so gross. But yeah. So toenails are just really important to me. Now that I have all 10 of them again, I just want to keep them. So no gibbets for me. Moral of the story.
That's great. Wow, that's crazy. That is a hell of a hike. Maybe I haven't gone that hard in my life. Like,
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah,
We're too soft.
Yeah, I bet that
I'm
wasn't the
soft.
conversation you thought was going to happen on this podcast.
That's okay. That's
love
honestly
it.
what we're looking for.
Yeah, expect the unexpected, as we learned
Yeah,
earlier.
traveling,
Always
yeah.
be ready. Yeah.
We
So
went after
that's
that. We
good.
went on a boat trip, and I like wasn't allowed to get in the water because I had to like wear socks at all times. Remember? Anyway,
So how long does it take for all 10 toenails to grow back?
well, 18 months apparently. Well, because okay, so the thing was, they started to grow back, and then they would just fall off again. So like, I reckon they
Oh.
all fell off like at least twice, some like 3 or 4 times. So now it's been 6 months since any have fallen off. So just very important to me, my toenails.
So do they look normal now, or like
Yeah,
do
I
they
actually
look
just
like
got I
you
actually just got a
remember?
pedicure today. So
Oh,
they look great right now. Abby, guess what color?
Pink.
Obviously, always.
I love pedicures. I've been kind of getting into them recently, actually.
Yeah.
Love
Well, I
So-
actually hate them because I hate people touching my feet, but I like the outcome.
Okay.
It's fair.
I love every part of it, but
Fair.
yeah.
I like the massage chair. That's my favorite
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, or just massages in general. Great.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so we usually shoot for an hour on this shit, and we're over an hour now. Is there any last bits we want to talk about after we covered the toenail thing? What
Yeah,
else?
can we talk about just one other thing? Because I would love not
Yeah,
to finish
to-
this episode on my
close it
toenails.
out.
Sure.
One of our questions, Jack, do you have one? I have one here. If you don't, I don't know.
Send it,
what you think.
baby.
Well, okay. So you ladies talk, I feel like every episode you talk about like a travel fuck up. And maybe you've already mentioned them on this because we've already talked about several mishaps, but what's your biggest travel mishap or one that sticks out to you that's just like your favorite travel mishap story?
Well, this is like the one question we did actually prepare because we were like, out of all of the things that we could talk about, what one? But so we actually picked one of the two of us together. So Abs, you want to tell the story?
Perfect.
Which one are we going for? The one to Honduras?
Honduras, yeah.
Okay, so basically, some mates that we'd met whilst travelling were on an island off Honduras, so we wanted to go and meet them for a night out. But in order to be able to achieve this, we had this like 2-day.
Wait, sorry. So
Travel
we were in
journey.
Guatemala, to be clear. We were like in Guatemala. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I was guessing that we had this 2-day travel journey because we were in Guatemala. I was in El Paredon, so I was on the coast. So I literally went from one coast to the other. And I was going to meet Shireen in one of the cities. And basically, we like couldn't really find much info on like how to do this journey ourselves. And because of timing wise, we couldn't do it as a shuttle. So Shireen went and asked her hostel if it was
And they
possible.
said, "Don't do it."
basically- Yeah, they said
That
no.
was
This is across Honduras or Guatemala at this point?
Both.
from Guatemala to from one
Got
side
it,
of Guatemala
got it.
to the other side of Honduras.
Anyway, I decided it was achievable. But we lost half a day because I had to get to Shireen first. So I got to Shireen about lunchtime. We got on our first bus to like the city and then got a taxi to where we thought we could get on a bus. Turns out it was just a shopping mall. So then we had to get another taxi to the right place. And then there was 2 bus terminals, one like domestic and one international. And on the international sign it said like, oh, it was going to where we wanted to go. So I went over and was like asking them and they were like, oh no, there's no buses till tomorrow. And I was like, right, it's fine, we're going to get to the border tonight. Get on this bus, get to this other town where we then had to connect to another bus. Because of traffic, missed that bus. So then we're like stood on this street in this random town in the middle of Guatemala thinking, how the hell are we going to get to the border? Luckily, like we managed to like flag down this taxi and speak to this taxi guy who took us to the border. We made it to the border with 20 minutes to spare before it shut. And I had to message, like, we booked accommodation for that night. So I had to message them, because basically when we got to the other side, there was no transport running from the other side anymore because of the time of day. So I had to message them to be like,
And
please.
we also wouldn't have had we also didn't have signal once we crossed the border.
Yeah,
Of course.
so it was like, somebody come and pick us up, because as soon as we cross this border, we're not going to have any signal. Cross the border, then just had to stand and wait and hope that someone was coming to pick us up at like nearly midnight.
9 p.m. in the Honduran border is just not really where I want to be.
Yeah.
It was
Personally?
later than 9
Yeah.
p.m, hon. It was like nearly
No,
midnight.
because the border shut at 9.
Oh, okay, fine then. 9. Then, luckily someone came to pick us up. Bearing in mind, we also hadn't eaten a proper meal all day, because obviously who plans food on a travel day?
Sure.
So we get there and we're like, oh, is there like somewhere we can eat? And he was like, oh, there's like not really anywhere open now. So went to like, what did we even buy? I think I got like a yogurt. And some nuts, maybe.
I just remember eating this yogurt, starving.
And then went to bed, and then had to get up at 4 a.m. the next day to then get on a bus to the most dangerous city in the world. Not the capital. It's not the capital. It's the second.
No, it's not the capital. Most dangerous in the world.
And then got stuck in traffic. Made it. Had to swap buses. Ended up eating KFC at like 10 a.m. in the morning. But it was also in a mall, so we had to then figure out how the hell to get on this other bus. Get on this other bus. Make it to La Ceiba, like the town where the port is, to this island, because also there's only one ferry to the island every day, so if you don't make it, you can't get to said island. And then
Roatan or
Utila.
Okay.
And yeah, we actually made it there, and went on this night out, and it was great.
It was great. It was a really good night out.
I'm just curious, when your hostel or whoever told you not to do this trip, like, why didn't you listen to them?
Well, because
I'd seen online that it was possible.
And also, the people that were saying not to do it, they weren't locals. So, like, they were like, they were like volunteers in the hostel that were like also backpackers. But the thing was, because obviously Abby had to come meet me first, like, they were like, right, well, if you're going to do it, obviously you're going to leave at like 7 a.m. And I was like, well, actually, and it was like 12 o'clock, and they were like, why are you still here? Like, leave. Like, they were like, you're actually going to start this like mammoth journey at midday. And I was like, I literally don't have a choice.
Okay.
Bus and chicken buses, best friends.
Yeah, until you get your phone stolen on one. But anyway.
Well, yeah, but that's a whole other story.
That's good. Yeah, I'm kind of scared of mainland Honduras. Like, I want to go to the islands, but I've heard the mainland is pretty sketchy. So,
I mean, we just did.
We went to a lake. We went into the jungle. And we spent one night in like Copan Ruins, which is just across the border from Guatemala. I personally felt safe the whole time. They tell you to have your wits about you. And
I mean, the two big cities I wouldn't be going into. Like, I wouldn't be going into San Pedro Sula, and I wouldn't be going into
Tegucigalpa.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's very impressive.
Yeah. But
wow.
I think there are some like backpacking hotspots that you can hit that are
there are like travelers.
Yeah, and we got public transport everywhere. Like, we didn't get shuttles and felt safe. So
yeah, and we also did that like got public transport solo as well, because we ended up, because of that, like, I stayed diving on the island, so we split up and we were in Honduras.
That's chill. I feel like danger in countries is always overblown.
I agree.
It's true.
To a certain extent.
Yeah, completely. And I feel like no matter where you go, like, have your wits about you, don't be an idiot, like, blah blah blah, etc., etc. But also, like, don't, like, I feel like it's one of my pet peeves is like people talking about like how dangerous and stuff things is online based off an experience they have had, because like, for example, like right now, like London is one of the most like likely places in the world that you're going to get robbed. Right, you're gonna get your phone stolen. So but like, you know, people will always go to London. Do you know what I mean? But like, they kind of talk about it more when it is like a third world country. And I personally just hate that narrative online. And because something happened to you in that country, it's now a bad country and it's an unsafe country, which is just not the case.
Yeah, could happen anywhere. I mean,
Literally
yeah,
anywhere.
U.S. cities, whatever, wherever you're from, yeah, it could
Yeah,
happen anywhere. So,
I think it's just more like just have your wits about you, and yeah.
all right, I think that's about it. We'll let you guys go. I know you have busy lives. It's getting
I
late
gotta go
in
to
the
bed.
Philippines. Yeah, you got to go to bed. So,
This was awesome, though.
yeah, thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, or we gotta get you guys on the realistic backpackers, and we can ask you. We'll just ask you all the exact same questions.
Yeah,
Perfect.
let's have the
Let's
same
get that settled.
conversation. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like
Just in
fun.
reverse. I'm pretty sure
My
Abby's
toenails
are
having
prepped.
sound issues. So,
Yeah. And then
But,
if we're ever in the same place, we'll have to meet up and hang out at the local
Yeah, for
Irish
sure.
bar. Wait, Abby's trying to
100%.
chat us.
Yeah, I think
know.
she's just got some sound issues. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's
Well,
fine. We got this far, you know.
yeah, we made it this far. It doesn't. Yeah, we're just saying goodbye. So you can just like wave, and that's good enough. So
All right, we can do it. Wait.
bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for having
Thank you
us.
so
Bye bye.
much. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.